I don't care if you believe me or not. I don't care at all. But what I will say is that KFC used to actually be a good restaurant. It used to be something that you looked forward to at the end of the day when you got home to see a whole bucket of chicken and a family meal. It was delicious, it was wonderful, and sometimes they'd include a cake or maybe some chocolate pudding packs as a family meal. It was wonderful. It was something worth buying, but now they've kind of lost their way, and that's unfortunate. So now we're going to learn how to play Colonel Rummy, a game for 2 players. Now this game comes to us from the Packet.com website under the Gin Rummy variations. The only thing that makes it different than standard Gin Rummy is the ability to lay melds down and the fact that the ranks are going to be 2 to ace, ace being high and not low. Also, the scoring will be different. You won't have your 25 points for Gin. And this game, there's no real set limit to what constitutes an end of a game. That has to be something that you agree on beforehand. There was nothing in the instructions. So, like always, you deal 10 cards to each player. We're going to have our cards face up for the sake of demonstration. The first card of the draw pile will be put down, and then the player that is the non-dealer will have the first choice. They can either take or pass. If they pass, South would then be the player to decide whether to take or pass. If he passes, then the first card of the draw pile will be taken by the opponent. And we just keep going like this. As you see, we've now saw South put the first meld down of a 9-10 jack, and now a queen king ace. So aces are high in this game. It's something that you need to get used to. And as always, we start the game off with drawing a card from the draw pile and discarding it to the discard pile. You can either pick up from the draw pile or the discard pile, as in the case with most standard Gin Rummy games. However, once a player has cleared all of their hand, they will have rummied, they will have gone out, and then scoring will take place. So we see North has rummied. They will score 7 points for the card left in hand by South. So you'll also get 10 points for every ace, king, queen, jack, and 10 in hand, but every other card will be worth just their pip value. That's why I say you really have to decide how many points you want to play this game to. Unlike Oklahoma Gin Rummy, which goes to 250, or Standard Gin, which goes from usually a lesser score like 100. I'm not sure because I don't really play Standard Gin Rummy as much as I do Oklahoma Gin. I think it's the superior rule set. But anyways, come up with a number with your partner and say, hey, what do you want to play this game to? My suggestion would be a good 50 points or 100 points. However long you want to establish the game, because you have the ability to see other melds and lay them down. Now you could also hold these melds in hand and wait. There's no rule stipulating that you have to play them immediately. But what you can do, however, is you take a huge risk in that, because anything not melded on the table will be scored against you. So it somewhat pays to meld your cards early. Now there we saw that there was a 7 left in hand, so now there's a total of 14 points for North. They've won the last 2 games, so we'll just do the same thing out again. North will be the dealer. Whoever won the previous game will deal the next. We get 10 cards to each player, and of course the first card of the draw pile we will put face up for the players to decide if they want to take or pass, and we just continue the game as normal. So as far as I know, I haven't really played a full game of this, but it scores such a low amount of points that it's really interesting. Now if you manage to exhaust the card deck and you have cards in hand still, what's going to happen is both players are going to compare scores, and the player with the lower score is going to win, and you'll score the differential in those points. Just in case you manage to draw out, normally in Gin Rummy there is a draw period where if you do not have all your cards melded by the time the game is over, you will have drawn. So we saw an ace and 2, so that'll be worth 12 points for North, and we'll just keep going with the game. It's a pretty interesting version of Gin Rummy, since it's more true to a rummy and allows for you to have your melds face up and allows the other players to contribute to them. But overall, I thought this was a pretty good game, and I think you might enjoy it if you already know the rules of Gin Rummy and want to try a different variation. This is a very, very good game, very good version of it. And overall, I think a type of game that could easily be played when you're waiting for a table at a restaurant. and just enjoying yourself on a Friday night, and you don't want to turn the television on, you don't want to be watching YouTube videos because you've pretty much seen them all and there's nothing really new under the sun. You just want to do something relaxing, or maybe you're on vacation. This is the perfect couples game, a perfect two-player game with a deck of cards. You already own it. The rules aren't that complicated. So that's just pretty much all you need to know about this game. Is, of course, any ace, king, queen, any two of clubs, of course, cannot be added to that, because that is the high end of the run. There is no wraparound in this game. So that makes it a little bit more challenging for somebody that has twos in hand. And of course, South has that two of spades in hand. Could have melded it, but didn't. And so we see South has gone out. They'll score the points that are remaining in their opponent's cards, and they'll just keep going on from there. They'll become the dealer. They'll deal 10 cards to each player, overturn the top card of the draw pile, and then, of course, the game will go on. The non-dealer will have the first choice, whether to take or pass. They go ahead and take, and they'll have to discard something, so that will give South the chance to choose whether he wants to take that king or pass on it. So he will go ahead and align his cards. Look what he has. He'll draw from the top of the draw pile. It's another king, so he'll discard it immediately because it's not what he needed. And we see that another queen has been turned up, so North will take that. And we'll just continue with this, trying to make melds. We do have some good melds, and now it's a question of what do we discard. And the game continues on like this until somebody is able to go out. And North went out, so we have 8 plus 6, so we're at 14 points. And like always, if you actually want to play this card game out in public against friends that you haven't yet met, otherwise known as strangers, come to our subreddit, Card Game Meetups. Post your city, post what public place you want to do this at, and what games you know. Click under the show more in the description for other links of videos that I enjoy, as well as a link to the Discord channel where we talk about card games all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. Do call up your friends and let them know that you'd like to go get some fried chicken. Wait a second, that's not right. Well, they might say yes and they might say no, but at least that way you'll get some fried chicken for once instead of playing card games, right? So do like, subscribe, and share these videos with other people you know love playing card games. Do vote for this month's Game of the Month. And I want to thank today's musician. I'll see you next video.